Welcome back to Whitney Alex Works recap of The Bachelor Season 26, Episode 3. It's been 2 full weeks since we were left with the cliffhanger about whether or not Clayton is going to take a rose back. And it seems like he was talking about Cassidy, who in the last episode received a group date rose, but then Sierra dropped a bombshell on Clayton, saying that Cassidy has someone back at home just waiting for her. All right, so the stage is set. Let's dive into Clayton's week 3 of being the Bachelor. We are treated to Clayton asking host Jesse Palmer if he is able to take back a rose. Jesse Palmer looks at him and says, basically, do whatever you want, man. So Clayton asks to talk to Cassidy, and the women see that he is pretty upset. He pulls Cassidy aside and straight up asks her about what Sierra has unfolded, and Cassidy denies it, saying that she hasn't been with anyone romantic in a very long time, but then says she has talked to a friend of hers recently, and it's very confusing for Clayton, and he walks away confused and a little hurt. And then we see Cassidy very upset, and she heads upstairs to a bathroom, where eventually Clayton finds her and talks to her some more. They sit by a bathtub and hash out their miscommunications, where Clayton continues to question Cassidy's honesty, and then she finally comes clean about this supposed side piece she has back at home. But even with Cassidy giving Clayton a kiss on the cheek, Clayton can't look past the dishonesty. And Clayton is faced with a decision: should he keep Cassidy around or not? And Cassidy senses his uneasiness and asks him, "Are you sending me home?" And then next thing we know, we see Clayton walking Cassidy out, which means that 21 women remain. Clayton says that sending Cassidy home was an unexpected decision, but he couldn't get past her dishonesty. The second rose ceremony is here, and it took a while to get here. As a recap, both Susie and Sarah are safe. Clayton calls out the following women and orders securing them another week with him. First rose goes to Eliza, then Rachel, Serene, Sierra, Teddy, Lindsay W., Jill, Gabby, Dr. Kira, Mara, Marlena, Genevieve, Hunter, Melina, Elizabeth, and the last rose goes to Shanae, which means Tessa, NC, and Kate are going home. 18 women remain. Week 3 begins with Jesse Palmer informing the 18 remaining women that this week there are 2 group dates and 1 one-on-one date. The first group date is up, and there are 8 women invited, which means each woman has a 12% chance of securing the group date rose. The 8 women invited head into a dark auditorium where they see Caitlin Bristow, Bachelorette number 11, who is there to facilitate an open and honest conversation where the women are challenged to be vulnerable and open up about tough topics. Cue Adele's new song, Cry Your Heart Out. And many of the women do open up about hardships they face in past relationships, with Hunter revealing that she was with a man who forced her to dye her hair and change the color of her eyes through contacts, which is a heinous relationship. And Serene opens up about being made fun of for being too thin growing up. And Marlena opens up about being a woman of color as well as racial issues. And Clayton listens to the women, validating their feelings and hardships, and then proceeds to express his own, saying that he was super conscious about his stomach growing up, thinking he was fat because he didn't have a six-pack while playing sports growing up. And at the end of the day, the group of women bonded with each other and also bonded with Clayton, and everyone shared a group hug. Clayton and the 8 women head to the night portion of the group date, and Clayton says to the cameras that he wants to give everyone a rose. He first talks to Serene, who both continue to open up with each other about their vulnerabilities, with Serene saying that she comes from a family that doesn't show emotions, so today meant a lot to her, and they end up sharing a kiss and connecting further. Also, Clayton is seen furthering his relationship with Susie, who just came off a one-on-one date, and they kiss. And then there is Eliza, who reminds me of a Disney princess. She makes an impression on Clayton, who stares at a mirror together, saying that they look like a handsome couple. And Clayton is taken with Eliza, and they share a kiss. Clayton is also seen talking to Marlena, Genevieve, and Mara, But at the end of the group date, Clayton gives the group date rose to Eliza, our Disney princess, securing her another week with Clayton. Sarah, who got a group date rose last week, gets the only one-on-one date this week. She heads out to see Clayton in downtown Los Angeles, where they are greeted by Becca Kufrin, Bachelorette number 14, who has a date planned for them. She has planned a scavenger hunt for Clayton and Sarah, but the catch is they have to run around in their underwear. But honestly, they might just be able to get away with it because stranger things have happened in Los Angeles. So Clayton and Sarah strip down and run all over downtown in their underwear, where they have to say yes to everything Becca throws at them. Clayton and Sarah are seen whacking piñatas, which seems to be a reoccurring date in this franchise, and then the two of them have to sing in public in their underwear, where poor downtown workers have to witness Clayton singing, where he goes super low-toned, but when Sarah is up, she delivers a pretty good rap verse, and Clayton is pretty impressed, and they end up kissing each other, and eventually Clayton and Sarah get dressed and talk about their experience, each saying that they had a great time together and end up sharing even more kisses. Meanwhile, we interrupt this one-on-one date to bring you drama back at the mansion. Elizabeth, who is trying to stay away from Shanae, is cooking shrimp and offers it to the other women in the house as a nice gesture. And Shanae, who has it out for Elizabeth, decides to take 8 out of the 15 shrimp that Elizabeth cooks, which pisses everyone off, especially Elizabeth, but tries to stay calm, cool, and collected about it. But we all know Shanae is just stirring up because she has already revealed her true self to the other women and to the cameras. But then Shanae weirdly starts cooking shrimp too and goes around asking the other women if they want her shrimp. And honestly, Shanae is just too much and her insecurities are just so evident that it seems like at this point, Shanae is just obsessed with Elizabeth. After the shrimp drama, we catch back up with Clayton and Sarah as they head to the night portion of their date. They head to a breathtaking Van Gogh exhibit where they sit down and talk about real issues. Sarah tells Clayton that she was adopted and it was hard for her growing up knowing that fact. And Clayton listens as best as he can and validates Sarah. Clayton then ends up giving the rose to Sarah. Then they head over to share a dance where they are serenaded by a group of musicians playing the violin. And it's a very romantic scene where Clayton and Sarah connect even further. The next group date of week 3 is a beach-themed date. 9 women are invited, which means each contestant has an 11% chance of securing the group date rose. Unfortunately for Elizabeth, both her and Shanae are on this group date, and it's a Baywatch ode date where the women are greeted by Baywatch icon Nicole Eggert, who is there to give the women and Clayton a Baywatch training where they are dressed in red bathing suits and have to first lather up in sunscreen and then have to learn how to perform CPR on a dummy. Then the 9 women have to do a slow-mo run, and everyone is having a great time, but Shanae is treating this like a basketball tournament and continues to call romancing Clayton a competition. She pisses off the other women by kissing Clayton for a long time in front of everyone. But at the end of the day portion, Nicole Eggert says that Gabby was the best performer, and this secures Gabby extra time with Clayton, where they share sweet moments and end up kissing. And of course, Gabby winning pisses Shanae off, which just means that Shanae is just jealous of everyone and anything. We head off to the night portion of the Baywatch date, and Clayton comes in and addresses the 9 women, saying that he had a great time with everyone. And first to talk to him is Rachel. Rachel tells Clayton that she feels like they have a phenomenal connection and that she is scared but has a good scary feeling, and they end up sharing an intense kiss. Next, we see Clayton talking to Gabby. Gabby is fun as she pulls out some aloe to help Clayton take care of his sunburn, which props to Gabby as she rubs Clayton, and Clayton loves her goofy side. And they share some more kissing, which, let's be honest, was intense. And I feel like Gabby is rising in the ranks of winning over Clayton's heart. But then we are treated to more of Shanae's shenanigans. She literally lies to Clayton about Elizabeth bullying her in the house. And we already know she is lying as she tells the camera that she is just trying to screw over Elizabeth. But she ends up kissing Clayton, which is just gross. And this is where you start to wonder if production should get involved because of how Shanae is behaving. And unfortunately for Elizabeth, every time she is talking to Clayton, she has to address this nonsense. And she ends up in tears where she just feels defeated. And of course, Clayton is confused, but production could just fill him in. And it seems like they won't. And now Lindsay W. is in tears all of a sudden as Shanae is telling everyone that she feels bullied. And everyone on the date has had enough of Shanae, and Elizabeth calls out Shanae about being obsessed with her. And then Clayton comes in, and even through the unnecessary drama, Clayton decides to give the group date rose to Gabby, which is actually good news that even through the drama, Clayton has chosen a true connection over the chaos. But he leaves the group with an ominous message. He will address the whole house before the next rose ceremony. Thank you for watching Whitney Alex Works recap of The Bachelor Season 26, Episode 3, Week 3. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to Whitney Alex Works for more videos in the future. See you soon for the next one.